Welcome back to TheChowTimePod. It's your host, Red. I got a video today from Riva TV. Again, Lauren suggested this video. Oh, and my Instagram, it's just TheChowTimePod on Instagram. It's exactly how my YouTube channel is spelled. If you guys want to message me there. I've been getting a lot more messages now because people are asking for my Instagram. Yeah, you guys can message me. You can link videos there, and I take those suggestions to heart. I have conversations with you guys. If you guys want to talk about anything, please let me know. If it's something serious, mark it serious, because sometimes I don't have my notifications on for my Instagram, so it takes me a while. I don't check it every day. I check my YouTube stuff every day. I don't check my Instagram stuff every day, or not every day, but like constantly. Sorry, I meant to say constantly. But this one is women are furious after she said this about single mothers. Single motherhood is such a taboo topic nowadays, when before it was known it was a bad deal. Please subscribe down below. I really appreciate this. And let's get to that chow. It's chow time.
It's statistically a fact. Single mothers, we produce the worst product, right?
Ooh.
Part of that, when we talk
Damn, that came out hot. Oh, all right. This is about to be spicy.
about males, especially black males, we don't realize that we're programmed, because if you don't understand history, you won't realize that like it starts with the female. Even when we were slaves, the idea is if you program the mind of the female slave, she will raise the offspring to continue your agenda without you having to be physically involved. She will teach her children to abide, because we're the first givers of life and care when kids are small. So we train them up to be good slaves, follow these particular rules. We indoctrinate and create certain philosophies in their mind, so by the time they're big and strong, they still following behind the same agenda that was placed into us. So when you look at males that come from single mother-headed households, if you don't get around positive male role models, you have the emotional management skills of a woman.
God damn. This is probably one of the harshest truths out there right here. This is this lady, she's right. Like, the most emotionally stunted men, the most highly curated emotional men came from single motherhoods, or came from single mothers. And we don't talk about this that often. This is why, we hate on simps quite a bit. Even I have some issues with it. But it's not the simp's fault, in a sense. They've been indoctrinated. They've been taught this way. They've been groomed this way all of their lives. It is so hard for a person to fight against that kind of programming. Anybody from any race or any sex. This is why it's beneficial for us to kind of educate simps and get simps to understand what's going on, like, instead of just trashing them constantly. I mean, I'm not saying we can't trash them, because they do some outrageously trashy shit, but we always have to put ourselves in their shoes, be a little bit more empathetic. We kind of need this in the world, a little bit of empathy, right? So, yeah, it's not, if you were raised in a single motherhood and you were able to get out of it, that's wonderful. I'm not saying you can't, but there's a lot of men out there that need some help.
Break that down. Break that down.
She's talking if all of your upbringing, 17, 18 years, you've only seen a woman head the household. You've only seen how a woman problem solves. You only seen how a female, i.e. your mother, handles things. You've only seen how she deals with anger, guilt, shame, different feelings. You're only
Woo. I will guarantee you guys, if I was raised by my mother alone, I would have experienced exactly this. And I experienced this. But I happened to have my dad in the picture as I was experiencing all this. My mother was very emotional. How she problem solved was way different than how my dad problem solved. My mom was quick to anger and quick may she rest in peace. I'm not trying to dog her or anything. You know, like she was quite abusive at times because she couldn't control her anger so well. She was very emotional. So that actually got instilled into me. I was very trigger happy with my emotions and anger when I was growing up in high school. I would destroy people for talking shit to me or saying your mother and all these things. I just beat the shit out of people. Why? Because I was so quick to anger. I didn't have that control over my emotions because I spent a lot more time with my mother than I did with my dad. My dad worked the night shift, or worked the shifts to where he comes home late, around 9 or 10, and I don't get to see him all day. But I see my mom all day. So I got picked up more of my mom's mannerisms. So this is 100% true. I can't even imagine how I would have like processed things and how I would take things in if I was only exposed to how my mother processed things.
Watching it from her. Now she ain't telling you act like me, but she telling you act like me because this is programmed.
Let me tell you, she said it all.
She did.
Okay, she said everything. She said everything. Okay, like let's just thank you guys for coming. She really did. And it's so interesting because whenever we talk about family dynamics, there's always so many complaints on the dad, right? There's so many people who complain about, oh, my dad wasn't there, my dad didn't do right, my dad, even if he was around, it's like he didn't do enough or he didn't do as much as he could have. And my mom was this person and that person. But it's rare that we ever hear people really delve into the emotional, taxing situations that they go through living with just their mother. The way that she took her stress out on her children, the way that she demands you to be.
Yes, 100%. The way my mother took stress out on my siblings. Because I'm much older than my siblings. I'm like 6 years older than my sister, and I'm like 11 years older than my brother. So I was already in college and stuff when my sister, during this era of time. And my mother just, couldn't control it. And she would just, the way she handled it with my siblings, it made my siblings kind of hate my mother. And there's other things going on, but just she wasn't able to process it properly. So it literally trickled down because her and my dad were kind of having some issues, but it trickled down to the kids. And it's really the kids that are taking the full blunt of everything. When you think about this personal experience here, guys, side story. When a woman is not in the greatest state of mind and is going through things with her husband, and her husband isn't, fully supporting things and stuff like that, she has anger and she has issues. And she doesn't get to really express a lot of this angers and issues, at least in our culture. And our culture is a little bit different than American culture. My mom is not Americanized or not a modern woman. So she would have never really took these concerns and stuff to my dad. And she does, but it's different. Because she's not able to express these so well with my dad. And my dad couldn't really care less about a lot of these issues, tell you the truth. She put out her frustration onto the kids. I see it personally. So I can't imagine if the father was never in the picture. How every single emotion, every single frustration that the mother has, she's going to trickle it down to the kids. If she is upset about whatever the hell it is in life, she's going to be upset at her kids. If she is like desperate about certain things, she's going to treat her kids a certain way. It's just from what my experience, I can tell that this is 100% correct. And I live with both, and I was raised with both parents.
Something because of the relationships that she could not keep or could not have, or because she's raising her young sons to quote unquote be the man of the house because she can't keep a man around, or whatever the situation is, or as this woman just said, literally, showing them how to be, emotional, being.
I just noticed Riva is just like me in a sense. I always say, that is my vernacular thing instead of or, I always say,
emotional men, whereas it's not a problem for men to show their emotions, but to making them to be overly emotional. A lot of times we see a lot of women who will bash their sons or whatever the case is because they cry or because they're emotional. But it's at the same time, if you are the only person that they've seen because you have either kept them away from their father because the relationship did not work out, you cannot keep a positive male role model in their life because of whatever it is that you got going on, all they can do is emulate what they see, because a lot of people forget that men, just as women, they start off as children. A lot of people forget that. I know, to the people who remember that are going to be like, of course, we all start off as children. But I strongly believe that a lot of people forget that men were once babies and they were once children. And children are extremely impressionable. It's a lot of, especially in their younger years, it's a lot of what they see. Yes. And less what you are telling them. Mm-hmm. They literally emulate all the behaviors that you have. It takes a strong foundation for a young boy to understand what it even means to be a boy, to be a man.
She's 100% correct. Like, it does take a really, really strong foundation to be able to have young kids realize these things.
This is why we have the conversations all the time that women, you cannot train your boys to be men because you do not understand the experience. You can talk about from your perception. You can talk about what you think. You can talk about the things that you have an idea of. You can talk about certain traits or qualities that they should have. But it takes a man to raise a man. And that's the truth.
It's funny because it takes a man to raise a man. And I still think it takes a man to raise a woman too. Just personally. Because the man instills such insight and knowledge through the way they teach. It is so necessary for both sex.
Because you cannot literally understand or fathom all that it takes for a man to grow within his true masculinity. It don't matter how much you talk about, on Father's Day that you was the mama and the daddy. It don't matter what you say. You can't do it. It's literally impossible. We can look at statistics and see how impossible it is.
Okay, Reva, I wouldn't say it's impossible. There's good masculine men out there that came from single mother households. There are. But I agree with you. It is very, very unlikely. And even when these men do become like good masculine men, they struggled. They struggled through life.
Again, this woman made a very clear point to say that that these young men need to have, strong male role models. And to be honest, the best role model for a young man is his father. Because at the end of the day, all of the traits that are within him are within you. Who better to emulate? Now, I can understand, there are some faulty situations. There are fathers that, are either incarcerated, pass away, or whatever the situation may be, where they are not able to be physically present within their lives. But besides the extreme of the people who literally are intangible, when we talk about the mothers who just keep their children away because they don't want to, deal with the man and they don't want to be involved, so they just purposely keep their child away from their father for their own selfish reasons, you are doing your child the greatest disservice. Because it's not about you. It's not about you. It's not about your feelings. It's not about your emotions. It's not about what you like and don't like. That was probably your problem within the relationship, is because you thought it had to be your way or the highway. And now you're trying to do that with your son. Control whatever he got going on. Control who he communicates with. Control him communicating with the other part of himself. Because of how it make you feel. Because you left out. It's not about you. I'll never understand, a lot of women who go through these situations of breakup or whatever the case is, and you start making it seem like this person is an unfit parent just because your relationship didn't work out. That don't got nothing to do with nothing.
This is a big problem with modern women. Because the relationship between the father and them aren't working out, or the father does not want to be with them, but the father still wants to be in the child's life because the father doesn't want to be with the mother uses the child as leverage against the father because she's mad at him. This happens pretty often, especially nowadays when we see mothers just trash. Like, we watch a lot of divorce lawyers and things like that, how when the woman is seeming to lose or to not gain as much as she was hoping to gain, the first thing that almost always comes up after that is abuse allegations. And abuse allegations against the kids, and abuse allegations against her. All right? That's how women are really using the system against men.
Now, one thing. You mad, you take it out on your you think you're taking it out on your child's father, but you're actually taking it out on your child, because your child's father is a grown man. He got it. He already.
It is taking it out on them too, because if you were a father that really loved your child and wanted to be in your child's life, it is a pretty devastating thing, Riva. So just saying.
He went through adolescent stage. He's already been guided. He's an adult. He can figure things out. It's your son who's going to have these challenges. And what happens, which is very hurtful, is that the reason why I stand so strong on the father being there, we're going to get to the uncles and all that stuff in extreme situations when that's not possible. But the reason why I stand so strong on the father and the dynamic of the son being with his father is because a lot of women, after they leave certain relationships, sometimes do not have the best judge of character when it comes to people. Then they get a new boyfriend in the house. Now you're trying to get your son to emulate this man that you don't even know.
And it's not just that. It's not his blood. He isn't going to put the same time, effort, and resources into this child as if his own father would. Women are so delusional. They think most stepfathers would really be willing to do this over normal fathers. Yes, there are some deadbeat motherfuckers out there. They deserve to not be with their kids. I agree. But there's not that very many of those men compared to men that want to see their children. Men love their children just as much as women. Just because you women, had it inside you for 9 months, so you do have a different bond with that child, does not mean that fathers do not have a strong bond with our child and the children also. So this is the part where I think women always seem to think this. It's like, oh, because I birthed it and I had it in for 9 months, I have a stronger bond and I care for it more. No, I've seen many fathers care more for their children than many mothers. But I've seen both. So.
And then when you find out that relationship is not good for you, or that relationship does not work out as well, now you have these traits of this man that did not work for you, that you do not like, or you realize he was not the best person. Now these traits are already embedded in your son.
Damn. Fucking Riva went somewhere that I didn't even think about right now. Yes. The more men, the more people you bring into the home, the more mannerisms and traits that your child picks up from this person. Woo, that was actually a bit of a mind blow for me because I never really thought about that. I thought about it, but it wasn't. She put it in words to where now I'm kind of taken back by it. Oh, right. They would pick up the horrible mannerisms here and there, and if they're seeing the same certain type of mannerism in different men, they're going to assume that those are the correct mannerisms. Oh my God. Boom. Right now. Just like, Oh, that the cycle of shitty men. You're just literally producing your son to be just like them because your son is absorbing all the things that they're doing. Because these are the only men that they're seeing in their lives. Holy shit. Revelation. Whew.
So now he's emulating somebody that you don't feel is worthy of being emulated. Or doesn't have the qualities to be emulated of. Or somebody who was showing you their representative. We just got to be real. Again, in extreme circumstances, I've seen people who literally have been incarcerated, and the mother keeps a duty to make sure that that father is in his children's lives, and you would never know that their father is not physically present by the way that he has control over his children from wherever he is being incarcerated. I've seen it. You would never know that there was not two parents in that household because the woman is demanding that respect and that honor for that father no matter where he is. No matter how we play it, it always comes back to the woman and the part that we play. And how important it is for, especially as women, to set a certain standard for children and father. Again, it's not about you. It's not about how it makes you feel. Not because that's not your friend. Not because that's their father. You might be annoyed. You might be a little irritated because you don't want to deal with this person. You should have vetted better. Should have thought about that. Things happen. Everything doesn't work out. But once you know that you were going to have a child with this person, you should have known, regardless of any situation, I'm going to make the best decision for my child. Not for my feelings, not for what I think, not for me, for my child. Once you have a child, it's no longer about you, it's about them.
This is the part where passport bros is one of the biggest issues. Is women in the West do not put their children ahead of them. They really don't. I've seen it in my own family. All of my family, most of my family, has always put children ahead of their own needs and above others. My father was like this. My aunts were like this. My aunt raised 3 kids by herself. Built multi-million-dollar business when she doesn't speak English or know how to read or write. Like, because she chose not to deal with other men. She chose to just stick with the family. The family helped propagate everything back up. All the little things that she needed, my dad would help fill in here and there. My uncles would help fill in here and there. My cousin filled in all the stuff that needed to do for business. Isn't it crazy how different the dynamics of women are in my culture and what I experience and how it is me dating and seeing the women out here in the West.
That's why when I hear people on social media and women talking about, I don't want to have children. Okay, let them say it from the get-go. It's better they say it from the jump.
It's true.
And you just take their word for it and keep it pushing and find somebody who was saying, yes, I would love to be a parent.
This is one big major thing that with my ex-wife. When we first got together, we wanted kids. 2 kids, 1 boy, 1 girl. That was the ideal, boy first. And then after we got married and we were together for a while, she decided she didn't want kids anymore. She said she thought it was a burden. She didn't want to bring life into the world it is now. I wish that she said it in the beginning. I would have like a 16-year-old child by now. Maybe like 15, 16-year-old child. And I think about that sometimes.
It's horrible. The thing is that people, again, they underestimate the power of the mother when it comes to the influence that she has on her children. I love the way that the woman said this, and she brought it all the way back from, way back when, from slavery days. But, it is so serious because as a mother, you are carrying your child in your womb. They literally live inside your body. After they are born, they literally don't know that they are separate from you for months. They don't know that they're a different entity from you for months. The connection that a mother and a child has is so serious and so thick that there are grown men and grown women right now who are dealing with the manipulation and the trauma that their mother has inflicted on them from when they were a child. People always talk about, daddy issues and this and that. I rarely hear people talk about mommy issues.
This is true.
Because mommy issues run deep.
About that.
They affect the whole community. They affect the viewpoint of how you see things. A lot of women, they indoctrinate their sons to become a certain type of man that they've never seen, that they've never acquired. This build-a-man that they figure that they could build. They want their son to be the build-a-man.
Mm-hmm.
They indoctrinate his mind on the type of man that he's supposed to be. And then for young women, they indoctrinate their minds on how they don't need a man.
Mm-hmm.
And it stays with them. Why do you think there's such a strong influence towards women? Being out there, being liberated, being free, being that, because once these women are out there acting a fool, once they're they're not thinking about family structure, they think about being selfish. They want to be outside, they want to get the bag, they want to put their careers first. They no longer want to be attached to their man in the family unit. The family structure is broken.
Preach.
I heard some people talking about, it's the man's fault.
It's always our fault.
Everybody has a part to play, but you see, the woman is the center of the family structure. She is.
This is why women are the ones that build the home. They build not just build the home, but build traditions, hold traditions. Like my family has a lot of traditions. 2 times a year, we'll order a roasted pig for the Day of the Dead and then for Chinese New Year. Those are the 2 holidays we do it for. And you have to set up the pig a certain way, and then you make food, and then you pour tea, you pour wine, you pour alcohol 3 times and things like that. Those are all things that women carry on. Men do too, but women are the ones that control the family and work with the family, like not work with the family, but kind of pushes the family to do certain things. Especially the kids. If the kids don't learn a lot of these things when they're younger, they will never do these things as they're older. I grew up with a lot of these things, and still, even now that I'm older, I only do some of them, right? So this is why I don't mind getting a Cambodian wife, a Khmer wife from Cambodia, if she knew all of these things, and if she did all of these things already. It just helps me stay in my culture a little bit better, because I'm not so good with these things.
She is the center of the nurturing for the household. She is the center of the guidance for the children. If she acting a fool, if she out of whack, the whole house is out of whack.
True.
I love the way she broke this down. Okay? I love the way she broke this down. And to be honest with you, we could be sitting here talking about this in a whole deeper, longer conversation. Because there's so many levels to this conversation.
There is.
When it comes to women and the impact they have on their children.
Like I said, this was a wonderful video that Lawrence, shout out to Lawrence. This was a great video. It took me a little while to get to it, but he knows. And I have my own insights on this, even though I was raised by both parents, because I've seen my aunt too. And she was the only aunt that my uncle passed. Oh, I'm wrong. I have my second aunt and my third aunt both lost their husband. But my second aunt lost her husband before we came here, and then my second aunt or my third aunt lost her husband while they were here, and they were, building businesses together. So I've seen the single motherhood of what they did. Both of my aunts never picked up another man, never was intimate with another man. They just worked and took care of the kids. So
not just positively, but negatively. And not just against their own sons, but against their daughters as well.
yes, that was amazing. Chow. Shout outs to Riva. Shout outs to Lawrence for suggesting me this video. I love Riva. I feature her here and there, which when she covers amazing topics. This was a really good topic. I had a really enjoyable, conversation, at least between me and you guys, about some of my stories, because me actually talking about it kind of rejogs some memory and then like connects a lot of things for me too. So I do appreciate you guys. Please like, subscribe down below. I really appreciate that, and I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.